Hey guys, this is Adam from AA for Entrepreneurs here with Mickey from Healing Tree Edibles. How are you today?
Good, thank you for having me.
No problem at all, my pleasure. Tell my listeners and watchers a little bit about your business for those that don't know you.
We make healthy, organic, gluten-free, low sugar, some sugar-free items. What we've done is we've tried to create a healthy way to heal. That's our motto, and that's what we try to live by. We use all organic ingredients. If we can't get it organic, we'll at least do a non-GMO. Try to use as many gluten-free recipes and items as we can. So.
Yeah, it's definitely important.
Yep. So we try to, cater to people that have diabetes, people that need to have, people that need to have like gluten-free items or sugar-free items.
Yep.
So we do a variety of doses from low dose. We try to help people learn what their proper dose is, that it's not going to harm them in the fact that they've overdone it.
It's so important to just educate people on the correct dosing and everything, because you can't over-medicate.
It really is. So for instance, the reason that I ended up doing this was I had a 6-inch plate and 7 screws put in my ankle. I shattered the ball of my ankle. I broke 3 other bones, and at the time, the guy that I was working for made me a bunch of infused chocolates, and he came over the day I had surgery, came over when I got home from the hospital, and he had given me a bag of chocolates. And instead of taking opiates right from the start, I took 1 chocolate every 4 to 6 hours, just like a doctor would prescribe a Percocet. You do 1 every 4 to 6 hours. Instead, for me, it was the chocolates. And then I started thinking, well, wait a minute, I come from a long line of short, stocky Italians with diabetes. Chocolate's probably not a good idea. So we do a lot of granola bars. We do a lot of trail mixes.
Delicious, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks. That's addicting. It's very dangerous when I'm making it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to make sure everything's evenly dosed, but yeah, it's dangerous because you don't realize it. It tastes like real Chex Mix or real food, and you don't realize that you've actually are eating something that's infused till 2 hours later when you don't want to do anything. And that's called overdosing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you could definitely over-medicate on cannabis for sure.
But it's not harmful. And for me, I'll use, with my granola bars, I'll break it into like 4 pieces. 4 pieces every 4 to 6 hours is a proper dose for me. Yep. But I know what my dosing is.
Yep. And it's different for everybody. People have to figure out their own dosing. Everybody's different. Literally, like, even if you're a twin, you're a little different from your twin.
Everybody's body chemistry is different. Whether you're eating it, your edible on an empty stomach, whether you're eating it on a full stomach, whether you've mixed it with alcohol, all of that's going to play a part in how you dose.
How much fat is in what you're eating, like everything.
Right. Yep. In fact, we don't use a regular butter. We use a plant-based butter, so we do a lot of vegan options.
Yep.
And almost all of our stuff is a vegetarian option, almost.
That's awesome.
So.
That's good to hear. I'm a vegetarian, so it's awesome
Yep.
to hear. Kind of piggybacking off of that, how do you feel that Massachusetts is doing with its legislation for cannabis?
It's just my opinion, but I feel that they should have done the licensing slightly different. In the way that it is on Cape Cod, where I'm from, it's really difficult. The majority of the towns have banned, and they've banned based on recreational. What they don't realize, and this is where the lack of education comes, especially to communities on Cape Cod, is that they don't realize that manufacturing, some micro businesses that fall, whether it's craft cultivators, these people have farms that date back to the 1600s. And now these towns are banning, or they're putting in zone restrictions where, what am I supposed to do, pick up and move my farm when I'm a 13th generation Cape Codder? Not me specifically, but the person I'm referencing. And so a lot of these license types have been banned because they fall under recreational. For instance, I want to do manufacturing. That's what I'm looking to get into. I only have maybe 2 towns I can choose from on Cape Cod. I'm a 5th generation Cape Codder. My children are 6th generation. Does that mean we have to up and move? When I'm looking to manufacture, to have my products in dispensaries, to have my products in stores that are legal, legitimate stores. How can I do that? So I feel that the regulations were not done right. I don't feel that they were looking out for all license types, because manufacturing, research and technology, and craft cultivators, they all fall under recreational. And if they're falling under recreational, we're all banned on the Cape. What can we do? I feel like those three license types need to work together because you can't do your research if you don't have something to test. You can't, the cultivators don't have anywhere to put their products, to grow, and where are they going to give their stuff to if it weren't going to a manufacturer or a researcher? The manufacturers still need a researcher to test everything. So those three license types kind of work hand in hand, and not one of them needs to deal with the general public. So in my opinion, those should have fallen under a different license type.
Yeah, I definitely agree. As somebody, like, I make my own cartridges, I make my own CBD and everything, but there's just like no lane for me to go to a dispensary and be like, hey, I have a product that I think is better than what you have right now. It's local, it's organic, try this out. And they're gonna be like, because there's nothing really they could do.
Right. So we've had issues down on Cape Cod where they've bussed voters in from nursing homes. We've had, and these people are falling asleep because they'll put whatever's cannabis related at the very end of the town meetings. And at the very end, by this time, I was there one night, a meeting ran until 11:20 at night.
When did it start?
At 7 p.m.
And then talk about cannabis at 11:15.
Well, the tail end of the meeting was about cannabis, and half the room had already left. So all these voters that come to this for whatever their topic is that they're going to be on, whether it's bumps in the road or something, potholes, whatever. As soon as their thing's done, they're up and out of there, which means these voters are not getting educated to know what they're actually voting on. I overheard one gentleman down in Bourne saying, why are we here? Like, I don't know what we're voting on, because they had bussed him in and he had been sleeping through most of the meeting because he's elderly, but he's a registered voter in that town. And so because they don't know what they're voting on, they don't realize that they're actually voting out people like myself who are looking to manufacture for dispensaries.
And someone who genuinely cares about how the Cape is doing. Like, cannabis can help all of your communities with taxes and everything. Everybody has issues. The roads are crappy around here. The schools aren't getting funded. Cannabis literally helps all that and helps get people healthier.
Yeah. For instance, another big problem that I see is because of the rollout, the way it's coming, it's not, Cape Cod is just, we're left in the dust. Yep. And the way the rollout is coming is like you've got all these different stores going retail or going recreational, and they don't have enough products, so they're putting limitations in now, being prepared, which is a smart move. They want to be prepared. But if these craft cultivators had licenses, then they could be supplying to those dispensaries.
Yep.
So to me, it's a big challenge because the licenses aren't rolling out in the way that they should be. And this is, again, my opinion. Yep. But they're not rolling out the way that they should be. Cultivation should have been first and foremost, because nobody else can exist without that. Yep. No other license, whether it's medical or recreational, can exist without that.
Yep. And it helps us keep it within Massachusetts too, instead of outsourcing to different states and everything. When we have amazing growers here, like I could name 25 growers that probably grow better stuff than what dispensaries have right now.
Right.
And that plays perfectly into your point.
Pesticides, doing everything organically, that's huge. And it's right. I should not be calling it recreational. It is adult use.
Yep.
We are adults. We are legal. We are over 21,
yep.
Just like a liquor store, yep. Which towns on the Cape, one town in specific, has 138 liquor licenses for the year of 2018 they approved, but not one cannabis. And that's adult use. I've had a friend of mine who I've known for years, and she was so excited when her town banned for recreational or adult use. And I said, why? She goes, well, I don't want my children around it. And I said, oh, but you'll go to a restaurant where the people next to you have already had 6 or 7 cocktails. They're going to get in the car and drive home, and so are you and your kids.
Yep. Or you're going to go to that grocery store, and it's going to be eye level with your kid, the alcohol aisle,
right. Yep.
And alcohol actually causes brain damage, unlike what they've lied about cannabis.
It impairs you.
Yeah.
It really impairs you.
Yep.
So for me, when I see and hear people saying, oh, I don't want it near my kids, I said, wait a minute, do you drink? Do you go home and have a beer or a glass of wine? Do you get in your car and drive your kid over to a friend's house?
Yep.
You've only had one, right?
Yeah.
So When I hear 138 liquor licenses were approved for one town in that year and zero cannabis, it was zoned out completely.
Oh my God.
Zoned out. Not even that they weren't approving, but it was approved. And then in the flip of a switch, somebody called for a second vote and they decided to change their mind because they're not educated. So it's not just about educating the towns, but it's about educating the selectmen, the council members, so taking them out to facilities so that they can see the police departments. Take the chief of police. Let them actually see what these facilities are, how they run, how they operate, so that they can see that it's still safe and secure in their own town. But you need to zone appropriately because cultivation can't always work, you know, where there's a lot of tar or where you're in a city type environment unless you have space. Cape Cod is not that type. Cape Cod is more farm, it's more agriculture, and that's why we need cultivation.
Completely and utterly agree. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say. You just blew my mind. We kind of had a conversation before this, so I already knew this was coming, and I was super happy about it because you brought a lot of points that a lot of people didn't because they're not from here. You know, like people are from out of state and everything, and you're literally in the mix of everything, and it's so important for people to hear. That's what this is all about. The only reason I'm here today is just to educate you guys watching, you guys and girls watching, because there's just not enough education out there at all. So
one of the things that you and I talked about before this is on investors in big business. When this state decided to legalize, a lot of that was based on being able to help the disproportionate, the economic, you know, people that have not had, whether they've, I'm sorry.
I was like, what's she
Beautiful dog.
Oh.
Beautiful service dog. You know, a lot of these people don't have the deep wallets, but they've got the experience, they've got the knowledge. Instead, you've got these bigger companies coming in. It's not even that. You're talking like people that have large investors, and they're coming in and they're just taking over before small people like myself. I was a stay-at-home mom for 16 years. I worked for about 4 years before starting this. And I don't have that type of investment. You know, you're talking anywhere between minimum 150,000 and upwards into the millions just to start a manufacturing facility. I mean, one piece of equipment I want is $30,000. Where am I supposed to get investors that aren't going to own my business? I feel that a lot of the towns that have legalized should have some sort of bylaw that anyone who's wanting to get into the industry in their town should have to be a resident, and a resident year-round. Exactly. Yep. I think that's really important because I do know people that have moved in from other states and they'll move here just to get into the industry. So because they may be of, let's just say hypothetically they're of a lesbian gay community, or that they're decided to move to New Bedford, for instance, where it's an economic and social injustice community. You know, they're impoverished down there. So you turn around, you have somebody that comes, say, from California, moves down to New Bedford. Now they've got investors, boom, they're taking over and they're opening up large facilities. What about the people that have lived here for years and want to get into this because they don't have the money in the deep pockets? They can't. Or it makes it that much harder, and now they're waiting 2 and 3 years when this other people move to the state and within a year or two are already getting their licensing going. So it's very challenging, and I think there should be some different things looked at.
I'm hoping that, you know, Massachusetts kind of follows suit with other states and stuff like that. Like, Cali seems like it's just a lot further ahead than us with like their legalization and everything. And I'm hoping once we fix like these small things, like no, they're not small things, like these big things with craft cultivators and small business. Like, small business is what's going to keep this going the right way. If we're letting Marlboros and all these rich people come in here, everything's going to get screwed up like it did with tobacco.
And then you're not going to be able to get rid of the black market. Not that you'll ever fully get rid of the black market, but by doing that, you're keeping the smaller people still, you're holding them down.
Like, all that plays in. I talked to you about like delivery and stuff like that, and how there's no legal delivery. Most of these delivery services are getting Cali packs and not even testing them, selling them to patients. And it's just,
they're not getting locally sourced stuff either.
Exactly.
And that's a lot of the problem, because if it's not locally sourced, we don't know whether there's molds in it. We don't know what the metals are in it. We don't know what contaminants they've used, pesticides they've used, because they are taking it from another state. And to me, it's just my opinion, but I don't think that delivery should happen for quite some time.
Once you said that to me and like broke it down, it definitely made sense to kind of hold off on it. I just wish they would kind of crack down on the people, you know, doing it. That's like my main point. I worked for a place that would like literally they would sell. I remember one time I went to somebody's house and they opened a bag and I was like, that smells like Blue Dream. They open another bag, smells like Blue Dream. Open a third bag, same thing. All three of them were not labeled Blue Dream.
Right.
Like that's
if you know your cannabis, you know your strains, and you know the education behind it, so you can pick up on those different scents, you know, the different smells, the appearance, all of that. But a lot of people don't know, or they do a bad trimming. They'll be like, oh, well, I cut off the part that had moldy. No, if there's mold on your plant, it's all over your plant. It's not just in the buds you cut off.
Seriously.
And then these are being shipped out here. People are driving around delivering them to somebody that's over 21. It's leaves too much risk out there, and it's not good for the industry. It's not good for the people that are trying to do things the right way.
It's kind of given everybody a bad rep, you know.
Absolutely.
And it shouldn't be that way, because there's so many people out here helping other people, you know, and hopefully it'll change. I have faith that it will.
It's going to take time, and like anything in life, there's going to be bumps in the road, there's going to be setbacks, and you just have to learn to roll with them, and you figure them out, and you move forward. You know, I've had a couple setbacks myself. It's not easy. It's extremely hard, and again, not having investors, it makes it that much more challenging. And then add on top of that towns that ban in our area. So now I've got to move from where I've been a 5th generation in order to move to another town, just so I can work my business. And that's the hardest part, I think.
It's honestly ridiculous. You shouldn't have to. You should be able to support your community that you've been a part of for so long.
Right. Especially when my community has allowed for medical. They're getting ready to open up a dispensary soon. But even my CBD products, they're giving me a hard time about. CBD is federally legal. Why am I having a hard time? And if they've approved medical, well, then manufacturing should be allowed to manufacture for these medical facilities.
100% agree.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Vicki. I really cannot thank you enough.
Nice talking to you.
You literally brought like a whole different side to these interviews, and I really appreciate it. So for my listeners and watchers out there, just plug any social media that you want to plug.
I would say Healing Tree 508 on Instagram, Healing Tree Edibles page on Facebook. You can find us there, and our email is healingtree508@gmail.com. Lastly, by the mid-January, we should be back up with the website. We've rebuilt it, and that is healingtreeedibles.com. Great. Thank you.
Thank you again.